So where am I? I'm in Wotton, and that's what it was called in 964, something like that, which means wood estate, wood farm. By the Domesday Book, it becomes Wotton, and today it's called Wotton-Under-Edge. There's lots of Wottons. My first is one of the warnings that you get from people who are really into place names is don't jump to conclusions. This is wool country. That's how England made its money. Well, one of the ways, one of the less terrible ways England made its money was through wool. And most Wottons mean wool town, but not in this case. It means wood. You've got to go to, Margaret Gelling tells us to go to the oldest record that we can find, the oldest records that we can find in case there's any corruptions, mistakes, and see what we can learn from them. So it's quite clear this place meant wood ton. Ton eventually becomes town, but it meant estate or big farm, whatever, back in those days. I'm in a place called Tiley Bottom, and apparently they call this stream the Tiley. It's also called the Coombe, but it is in 964 is Tilan Leach, which means it would have become Tiglanley, which becomes Tiley, and it means the rough pasture where tiles are made. It's a 6-mile walk, but it's actually going to be longer than that because, as I've just shown you, I've got some big hills, so I'll be going looking down as the crow flies. It's 6 miles. It'll probably be more like 7 once I've got up and down the hills. Two miles in, I've eaten a sandwich, done some footage, explained the lie of the land, had a row with a local, looked at some cows, and I've got another 4 miles to go, and the steepest part in a minute, I think. There's possibly 2 long barrows on this near this route, but it's getting to them. I should be able to get to one of them, but this landscape, hold on, let me get my phone out, I wrote it down. We're going to look at the Tithe Award. Ooh. And that gives us 1842, I believe, and that gives us extra information about the landscape. Now, that's not long ago, 1842, really. This, just over 200 years ago. But it's these names, the names given to these fields and these places, are ancient. Farmers are very conservative folk, and even after things like enclosures, they still retain the medieval names. So you'll still find like Westfield Close, which means an enclosed part of Westfield. Westfield is a classic medieval name for a field. So where we are now is Whitley Moors, this field, where I'm having my sandwich. And it's Whitley Head over there, that hill, and above it Lady Mead. And behind us, I should have taken a shot of it. It should be, I should have footage of it, Tiley Hill. So you see that Tiglan Leach is still there in Tiley Hill. But we're going to make our way up along this river, and I want to talk about the name. The ancient name of this river is a very strange one. It's neither English, and it's neither. No, part of it's probably English, but the ending of it isn't English, and it's not Welsh either. So it could possibly be a Neolithic name, but I'll go into that later on when I get to Tor Hill. But as we follow the river up to the head of the Coombe, it takes us up to a place called Lager, and there's several fields called Lager around here, like Great Lager and stuff like that. I'm wondering whether it means like a lynched, a terraced, really steep hill. But let's have a look and see what we can find. And there's a field at the top called Barrow Piece on Tump, and there is a long barrow there, but whether or not we can get to it is another matter. It's a bit off the beaten track. And then a walk along the edge. But there are a lot of field names and village names called Lee, have a Lee ending on them. And what this means is when they started to give the names out for these places in the Dark Ages, after the Roman Empire collapsed and the Anglo-Saxons staged their coups one after another, slowly, taking over dynasties by marriage and violent takeovers. They started settling and giving their names. So those places that were early, that were cultivated early, don't use the word Lee. Lee is Liach in Anglo-Saxon times, but today is known as Lee. They are pretty much uncultivated. They're rough pasture. It's poor cultivation. So it suggests where you've got places with the word Lee in it, they're late to the party. So when the Anglo-Saxons got the early English got here, it wasn't very good land, for corn and barley. So there's a lot of Lee names all the way down here. As you can see today, it's not ploughed. And you can see it hasn't been ploughed very much because there's lots of lumps and bumps. It's ploughing levels the landscape. So yeah, I just thought I'd mention that. We're making our way up to the head of the Coots.